if you follow me here, we'll get to the next part of the tour, which is the great artist Michelangelo. His works always represented humans in their most beautiful state. He grew up during a golden era, and even in his youth he was fed ideas from Greek, Roman, and Old World ethics and ways. He always believed in the power of man and individualism, so being independent was very important to him. He did not work well with others and always had a long-lasting rivalry with Julius II, never being able to take his ideas. When he worked, he had to be working at his own comfort level because his heart and his own beliefs needed to be put into it. The first work that Michelangelo created that was heavily noticed by the public was the Pietà. It's gorgeous, right? A representation of Mary holding the deceased body of Jesus Christ in her arms. The reason this sculpture caught the eyes of the public so fast was that while being a physical representation, the emotion behind this moment was apparent through really looking at the work. The way Jesus' lifeless body is sprawled out across Mary, and how Mary sits there holding him, staring down at his body with visible sadness and fear on her face. The emotion brought to the viewer of this sculpture was overwhelming, and the people were truly amazed. They decided to keep their eyes on Michelangelo, the mysterious private artist he was. Follow me. A few years had gone by without another breakout piece from him until it was 1504, and he had finished what is known as his most famous piece, David. All of Michelangelo's beliefs put into one massive marble statue had been made in David. One, starting with the power of man in his natural state. He created David in the nude to show how strong his beliefs of humans in their natural state were. He used body language, hand gestures, and facial expressions to express the emotion behind David, the power and the beauty of him, for he was so powerful. He used multiple contrary forces to show mixed emotions through physical expression. David was simply a beautiful work of art. Now that we've seen all of Michelangelo's works, you guys like the works of the Renaissance, don't you? Mm-hmm. Why don't you follow me to this room? You ready?
Thanks, on.
Welcome to our grand exhibit.
Oh my, this is incredible.
Hello, I'm Michelangelo. So, you guys want to learn more about some sculptors during the Renaissance period? Because we have a few here right now. And I have a show for you guys, if you'd like to follow me. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Bernini. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm running a series of interviews today. We might as well begin. So tell me how you became an artist in such a odd post-period to the Renaissance.
Well, my father was a sculptor before me, and he sculpted during the Renaissance. He taught me from a very early age, and then as I began to grow older as a teenager, I studied under a Renaissance sculptor named Jean Bologna, and it was only a matter of time until I became a sculptor myself after studying underneath them.
So what do you think your best work is?
Well, it's very difficult to say if I have one particular piece that I'm best known for. However, if I had to choose one or two, my bronze baldacchino canopy in the St. Peter Basilica is a very massive piece, and it's hard to miss. It's almost 6 stories tall, and I sculpted it completely out of bronze. However, there is another piece called The Ecstasy of St. Teresa that was so graphic, St. Peter's would not allow it to be shown in their basilica. And I feel like it was one of my most heartfelt pieces. It showed a lot of raw emotion, and I feel like that's one of my more notable pieces.
So tell me how your work reflected the values of the Renaissance and the Baroque period post-Renaissance that you were a part of.
Well, I strove for perfection in every single one of my pieces. Particularly when I designed the courtyard for St. Peter's Basilica. I designed the entire thing myself, other than the obelisk in the center. And it took me a very long time to design and create, and I wanted it to be absolutely perfect because I knew it would be a piece of the future. And after studying under my father and Jean Bologna, I was also heavily influenced by the art of yourself. and I feel like that helped me showcase a lot of religion and raw emotion in my pieces, which allowed me to showcase, even though I wasn't in the Renaissance, why it was the best art period.
Well, thank you very much for coming on today.
My pleasure.
So, Donatello, it's good to see you. So how did you become an artist?
Well, I was first an apprentice to Lorenzo Ghiberti. He trained me in his workshop, so I had good working conditions, and it was really nice. And he pretty much just taught me everything I know. And then I blossomed and started my art career.
Okay. So what was your best piece of work?
Well, I would have to say definitely my bronze sculpture of David. It was a lot better than my marble one. I just would like to forget about that one, but the bronze one was really nice. It was actually the first freestanding nude sculpture in the Renaissance, and that actually created a lot of controversy, and people just went crazy over that, but soon became a normal thing to see during the Renaissance.
So how was Ghiberti as like a master of some sort?
Well, it was my very beginning in my art career, and I didn't know better, so I thought he was a really good teacher.
Okay. So how would you say your work reflected values of the Renaissance?
Well, mostly I brought back a lot of classical ideas from like the ancient Romans and Greeks, and also I created a few of my own art styles, and I created some beliefs. One of my top beliefs is that I believe each individual is important in their own way.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It was nice talking to you today, Donatello.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Ghiberti, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So I'm running some interviews today, and I'm glad that you could join me. Tell me, how did you become an artist in such a time like the Renaissance?
Well, as a young boy, I was trained as a goldsmith, but then later on I moved into more sculpture-related kind of art.
So, what would you say is your best work?
I would say I'm most known for my east side doors at the baptistry, which are also known as the Gates of Paradise. It was named that by you, in fact. They depict 12 scenes of the New Testament of the Bible. That's kind of what I was aiming at for that one.
So, I talked to Donatello earlier. Tell me, how was he as a student?
He was probably my best student. He had the best career after I worked with him, and he developed into a great artist.
Okay, so tell me, how does your work reflect values of the Renaissance?
Well, I always strive to be the best artist that I could be, and I want to be celebrated as a great man and a great artist. And also, I shared my knowledge with everyone who wanted it, and pretty much the whole town.
Okay, well, it's been nice talking to you. Thank you for coming by today. Gentlemen, did you enjoy the interviews?
Absolutely. I thought it was very educational.
Well, we've got a even bigger, better show for you now. The artists that I just interviewed for you are actually here again, and they will be performing pieces for you. So if you'll follow me.
All I do is sculpt, 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 no matter what. Got sculptures on my mind, I can never make enough. And every time I wake up in the morning, everybody knows what I do. I start sculpting, and they say yeah, and I keep sculpting marble and bronze marble. Cause all I do is sculpt, sculpt, sculpt. And if you think I'm lying, look at me right now. I'm sculpting. I'm going into the studio cause I just finished there and look at him now. Keep your head up, look into his eyes, for the critics didn't like him, I still made him. He never found his clothes, he's saying that's a sin, but not my imagination, they call it a masterpiece. And I'm in the studio, so I keep sculpting, yo. My thoughts go up and down, like an elevator go. My sculpture still be turning, developmental learning. Last time they made a new statue was back in the time of ancient Romans. Can't ever count me out, y'all better know I'm here. I got classical ideas, I learned from ancient times. Make sculptures every year, until he's champion. Cause all I do is sculpt, 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 no matter what. Got sculptures on my mind, I can never make enough. And every time I wake up in the morning, everybody knows what I do. I start sculpting, and they say yeah, and I keep sculpting marble and bronze marble. Cause all I do is sculpt, sculpt, sculpt. And if you think I'm lying, look at me right now. I'm sculpting, sculpting Italy. Head on a swivel, I do it for the Medicis. Clean as a sculpture as I put in my wagon. Got them all later when they see it, they say, oh boy, that cause he's a statue, but he's not a leader. He's just a soldier that goes against his time's belief. Ask you what you looking at, represent that rebel right. Plenty money, boy, you better get your head right. Go to sculpt, working it, boom, feast of hair. It's one of my beliefs, it's an art life. All I do is sculpt. You sculpting or what? Cause I'm sculpting tonight. Call it a masterpiece, now how you appreciate me. I sculpt no matter what. Got sculptures on my mind, I can never make enough. And every time I wake up in the morning, everybody knows what I do. I start sculpting, and they say yeah, and I keep sculpting marble and bronze marble. Cause all I do is sculpt, sculpt, sculpt. And if you think I'm lying, look at me right now. I'm sculpting classicalism, humanism, individualism. I use them all. Jules and Hall of Fairness was my finishing act. I've been doing this sculpting since I was 14 years old. I worked with the best of them. Ghiberti was my teacher. Padua, Italy, I made them all wittily. Pardon me, I'm working here. Sculpting St. Mark and George, don't mess with me. I ain't a green ninja turtle. Born 1386, died 1466. Italy knew me best. Florence was my baby nest. Time and time again, while I'm sculpting on this thing, Ghiberti said it best, just sculpt, baby. All I do is sculpt, 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 no matter what. Got boxes on my mind, I can never make enough. And every time I wake up in the morning, somebody knows what I do. I start sculpting, and they say yeah, and I keep sculpting marble and bronze marble. Cause all I do is sculpt, sculpt, sculpt. And if you think I'm lying, look at me right now, I'm sculpting.
They see me sculpting my bronze doors. I know they're all thinking I'm so bright and arty. I think I'm just too bright and arty. I think I'm just too bright and arty. Can't you see I'm bright and arty? Look at me, I'm bright and arty. I wanna sculpt with my workshop, but so far they all think I'm too bright and arty. I think I'm just too bright and arty. I think I'm just too bright and arty. I'm just too bright and arty. Really, really bright and arty. First set of doors at the baptistry. Got skills I'm gonna win when they try me. Sculpture contest, you know I win. Got a combination I can start making. North doors of the baptistry. I sculpted 28 Bible scenes. It took 21 years to complete. That's why I call it a masterpiece. Second pair of doors were looking nice. Been called the gates of paradise. I didn't get a lot of complaints. Also made 3 sculptures of the saints. Ask who they are and here's a list. Stephen, Matthew, John the Baptist. Now they're used for tourism. Probably because he used so much humanism. My art style was very momentous. I used it to teach my apprentice. We made sculptures that were deluxe. Then we sold them to make some bucks. Being really rich was a plus. I was like being really famous. My critics had a great response to all the work I did in the Renaissance.
Just coming up in the hour then to be well.
quite honest with you, they don't think I sculpt well. You ever feel like your train of thought's been derailed? That's when you press on, make more. Everyone in Italy just wanted to see me make more busts of the leaders of the Catholic state. Some of them do it for the females, and then some, they do it for the...
But I do it for the love of the art. Every time I sculpt, it's only making my mind strong. And I'll be behind the scenes like Mike Donnie Gaberti just until you see the great Paulo and Daphne.
Until the cardinal pays you well, until both your hands start to swell, until the Pope says to go home. What we're gonna do now? Give them more, turn their heads, gonna sculpt it till we're dead. Give me stone, give me tool, then they'll say to me, say to me, say to me, there goes the sculptor, there goes the sculptor, here comes the sculptor. That's what they'll say to me, say to me, say to me, this one's a sculptor. And if I can last 30 years, there's no reason you should ever not be here. Just the best sculptor of my time, nothing else. Coming from Naples, home to me Bernini. Typical sculptor, coming up pretty fast. Starting right with my connection to the mass. The Pope, he loves me, he even gives me money. He sets me up, makes me his personal with no degree. Until the cardinal pays you well, until both your hands start to swell, until the Pope says to go home. What we gonna do now? Give them more, turn their heads, gonna sculpt it till we're dead. Give me stone, give me tools, then they'll say to me, say to me, say to me, there goes a sculptor, there goes a sculptor, here comes a sculptor. That's what they'll say to me, say to me, say to me, this one's a sculptor. If you think you just can't take no more, check out St. Peter's, then check out the score. Just know I'm the best of my time. Give them more, turn their heads, gonna sculpt it till we're dead. Give me stone, give me tool, then they'll say to me, say to me, say to me, here comes a sculptor, there goes a sculptor, here comes a sculptor. That's what they'll say to me, say to me, say to me, this one's a sculptor. Until the cardinal pays you well, until both your hands start to swell, until the Pope says to go home. What we gonna do now?
You guys enjoyed the show?
Yeah, it was incredible. I didn't realize that they could sing.
Well, thank you for coming today. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you got everything possible out of your tour here.
I think we did.
It was fun.
I will be coming back.